This is a public meeting of the Berlin Conservation Commission occurring via Zoom webinar on November 18th, 2020, start at 7 p.m. As a preliminary matter, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. We are being recorded, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. Accordingly, please be aware that other participants may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer or eat while you are talking. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. So confirming member access, this is John Aney, Chair of the Berlin Conservation Commission. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. So when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Carolyn McDonald.
Aye.
Walter Bickford.
Aye.
Liz DiChiara.
Aye.
Robin Berry. Robin, say something.
Aye.
There we go.
Take
And
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
well-
kind of staticky.
and then
I was just saying my audio sounds awful. Is it bad for you guys too, or is it just me?
no, it sounds awful. Yeah.
It's you.
Yeah. Holly Kennedy DeGrudela.
Here.
Hey.
All right, I'll see.
Whoa, that was.
Oh.
Um,
And I think you missed Louise.
how did I took her out last time because she wasn't here. So let me, and Louise
I'm here. Aye.
Janda. No, I was being overly prepared last time and actually typed that. All right, no anticipated speakers. With a quorum of the commission present, I call this meeting to order at 7:16 p.m. on Wednesday, November 18, 2020. This open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19 virus. Specific information, the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and all parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at the Town of Berlin website at www.townofberlin.com. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, provided reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. While no in-person attendance of members of the public is permitted, every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio, video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The standard public comment portion of this meeting will accommodate limited public comment. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening using Zoom platform as posted on the agenda, identifying how the public may join. Meeting materials, the public is encouraged to follow along during this meeting using the posted agenda, and supporting availables may be shown on the screen. As far as ground rules, commission members and speakers on the agenda, please remember to request recognition before speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. And then to the extent that our technical capability allows, public comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of this meeting as follows. Attendees' phones and other devices will be muted unless and until they raise their hand and are recognized by me to speak. I ask each member of the public who wishes to speak to identify their name, and I will afford each speaker time to ask a question or make a brief comment. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Boom. Okay, there's that. We don't have any guests, do we?
We do not.
That's good. Okay. All right. Next is reviewing the minutes. All right. I have to. Oh, that's right. Screen share. Meeting minutes from November 4th, 2020. Meeting opened at 7:06 p.m. John opened the meeting by stating that it was being recorded and explained the reasons for the meeting being held remotely by Zoom, on Zoom, by executive order of Governor Baker due to COVID-19. The town offices are closed to the public. John reviewed the rules for holding the remote meeting. A roll call attendance was taken with the following results. John here, Steve here, Walter here, Liz here, Carolyn here, joining a few minutes late, Robin Berry, co-host here, Leanne Leahy, open the meeting and then turn it over to Robin. Other attendees, Holly Kennedy DeGrudela, associate non-voting member, Alex Perra, attorney for homes at Highland Ridge. Number 1, review and approve minutes of the previous meeting. Minutes of October 21st, 2020 are reviewed and edited. Carolyn moved to approve the minutes with the minor edits. Liz seconded the motion, which passed by roll call vote. John, I, Robin, I, and Steve, I, Liz, I, Walter, I, Carolyn, I. Treasury report, funds available as of October 31st, 2020. Annual budget, $1,188.25. Wetlands fund, $10,912.83. And open space fund, $187,000. $187,051.77. Bills and forms, bills from KP Law, $36 bill needs to come out of open space fund due to fiscal year end timing. Carolyn moved to approve the $36 KP Law bill out of open space fund. Steve seconded the motion, which passed by roll call vote. John, I, Robin, I, Steve, and I, Liz, I. B, a $515 bill needs to come out of open space fund due to fiscal year end timing. Carolyn moved to approve the $36 KP Law out of open space fund. Liz seconded the motion, which passed by roll call vote. Everyone was.
Oops. I said 36 instead of 515 that time.
I missed that one. Thank you.
Thanks.
Reimbursement, John bought materials at Lowe's, $307.01 for boardwalk on the Mountain Laurel Trail to be paid for by from the general budget. Liz moved to reimburse John. Robin seconded, passed unanimously. John abstained. Mail, an RDA request received in the mail for 149 Sorry Hill Road, Assessor's Map 11, Parcel 11-3. Wetlands, Highland Ridge, DEP 1070241. Reviewed recent evaluation done by environmental monitor Patrick Garner, who is generally pleased with the recent progress. Number 2, 100 River Road West Enforcement Order, Judy Schmitz to DEP, Walter, Liz, and Louise did a site visit on October 29, 2020 at 11 a.m. River Road site visit with DEP. Owners showed up in their office with. Oh, hold on. They promised to correct the wetland violations and present an NOI by the December 2nd meeting of the Concom. B, it was noted that the original lot has been subdivided. 3, Marlborough Road, EP 1070254. Walter, Louise, Liz went with Judy Schmitz from DEP, attended site visit regarding a superseding, did I spell that? Is it a C?
A C might be better.
Yeah, I think it is. Louise, superseding, is it a C?
Doesn't like that.
Oh,
I actually think it's an S. I always spell it wrong.
No one ever supersedes me, so I never have to chance to spell it. Gates Pond Road concern, Walter and Carolyn. Jed Hayes of Sullivan Hayes of Highland Commons is yet to communicate with Carolyn. 532 Allen Road. Steve did a site visit on Fall Earth Day. Sounds like Atlas shrugged. He determined that the violation was on 32 Allen Road, not on West Street address. Steve noted that a large amount of fill was placed in the wetland. Walter said he will issue an enforcement order. 6, appointments. 1, 7:30 p.m. continuation of public meeting, COC request DOP 1070239. No representatives from the Solar Array were present for the meeting. However, Chris Anderson from Hannigan Engineering emailed the Concom account on November 8th with a letter requesting that we consider a partial COC. This request was discussed during the meeting time by commission members. John had discussed this option with Patrick Carter earlier in the day, and he was in favor of this option. There was a general consensus in support of a partial COC. Liz moved to issue a partial COC. Carolyn seconded. Roll call vote. Steve, I. Walter, I. Liz, I. Carolyn, I. Robin, I. John, I. John will complete the partial COC document and obtain signatures. 2, 7:37 p.m. Highland Ridge Conservation Restriction. An informal discussion was held with attorney Alex Perra, who represents Homes of Highland Ridge, concerning a draft conservation restriction that he emailed up to the Concom account. With the attachments, we reviewed some of the recent history about the CR and clarified some misunderstandings. John expressed 2 specific concerns about Section 2B involving drainage infrastructure on Parcel B and septic loading offsets. Attorney Perra said he would work to clarify the meanings of those passages. Walter suggested that the commission contact SVT about taking on the role of conservation monitor. Holly asked about trail access. Attorney Perra had asked about allowing building permits for residents to proceed. He suggested that the permits be allowed with the understanding that no occupancy permits will be granted until the conservation restriction has been approved. John will discuss with the building inspector. Oh, that was bad.
You too.
Nope. I don't know how to fix that. Maybe I just won't fix it. 4, which should be 6, land management, trespass at Therians. Steve will meet with Sue Therian and Dave Smith, Highway Department. 2, Divine CR annual monitoring visit, October 30th, 2020. Therian. The annual monitoring visit occurred at 10 a.m. October 30th. Liz and SVT and Sue Therian talked about a fence or something to keep cars from driving through Sue's horses. Maybe if I do this. Nope. Fuck.
Don't you love it?
Oops. We'll have to mute that.
Yeah.
New business, no, new business, old business. These numbers are all out of, anyway, old business, wetland bylaw, discussion about how to communicate with various interested parties about the bylaw. B, special town meeting on Saturday, December 5th was canceled. No talk about land acquisition. Community outreach, Fall Earth Day. Fall Earth Day went well. Let's have ice cream, said Steve multiple times. Decided to get together next Sunday, which was a bust. Carolyn moved to the close of the meeting. Liz seconded the motion, which passed with a following roll call vote. John, I. Robin, I. Steve, I. Walter, I. Liz, I. Carolyn, I. Meeting ended at 8:58. Minutes recorded by Liz Chiara and John Haney.
Much
Discussion?
improved by John Haney. There was one place up above where I said it passed unanimously. I didn't do the Liz, I, Carolyn, I.
That's all right.
Okay. And the other thing was at the very, very top, it has the address, but since it was Zoom, I wasn't sure. See how it says town offices, 23 Linden Street?
Oh, I'm just gonna leave it there because the formatting is really messed up.
Okay.
So it's just really hard to move stuff around. I'm just
Change
gonna leave it there.
anything. Yep.
Any other thoughts?
No, thank you for fixing it. I
Oh,
move
no.
to approve the minutes with amendments.
The only thing,
Oh,
the one part where you didn't list the roll call vote. Do you want to just add passed unanimously by roll call vote?
Yeah, where was that again?
Oh.
I think you just went past it. It was, keep going, right there, number 2.
Oh, good one.
Pass
Anonymously.
You know that word. Just so that it's recorded that a roll call vote did happen.
Yeah.
How do you spell that word?
Yep. By roll call
That's-
vote.
There you go.
There you go. Okay. Good. Anything else?
That was all I had.
So there was there hasn't been a second yet.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Not just that I love Louise for doing these notes.
Yep. Great job.
You didn't see
All
it
right.
before.
All right. So roll call vote. John, I. Liz,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Louise,
Aye.
Walter, I, and Robin.
Aye.
Great. Okay. Next, treasurer's report. Do you have any update, or do you want to skip treasurer's report?
Well, I think we were gonna do it. I mean, I do have like the current numbers, but I think we were gonna do like an end of month kind of thing. So I have the numbers that you gave me, you sent last week. So I added those in. So it's up to you. I mean, I can give the numbers now, or we can just do like an end of month, once a month.
Yeah, let's just do once a month.
Okay.
We have no bills to pay, which is just awesome.
Nice.
All right. Next under agenda is mail and notices. This may have been sent around to people, but this is just about the COVID permit timeline and other town office timelines, blah, blah, blah. Right. We've been under the emergency order saying that timelines don't exist for permits, but now they will, starting in December. But it doesn't really matter because we haven't delayed any permits anyway.
Right.
So I think it was December 20th. December 1st. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter that much because we are updating anyway. But we can't delay. Now we won't be able to delay, even though we never took advantage of that. Next up is wetlands. Number 1, Highland Ridge. Pat says they fixed a lot of the troubles. They replaced a lot of the wattles. His last 2 reports look good. I can share them if you'd like. Does anyone want to see them? Okay. Number 2, I have an agenda, 100 River Road, but I haven't heard anything from them. They're supposed to, it's my next meeting that they're supposed to do anything. And number 3, Allen Road. Walter, did you get a chance to deliver that enforcement order?
I mailed it. I didn't mail it registered mail, unfortunately, didn't think of it, but I mailed it.
Do you have a copy of it?
Yeah.
So, because we're supposed to also send it to DEP.
I did.
Did you send it to the new address or the old address?
I sent it to the address that came up on the computer when I looked them up for the Worcester office.
The 8 Bond Road?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Why, have they moved from that address?
They moved 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay, well, thank you very much for doing that, Walter.
Thanks, Walter.
I have not heard anything from them.
Either.
So we'll give them a little more time and then we'll try to follow up.
Okay.
Okay, appointments. We don't have any appointments, but I do have some follow-up. So Alex Perra emailed me yesterday requesting a delay in the meeting because they had some stuff to work on still. But a couple of interesting points is that they, this line here, it may eliminate the need for any drainage easement in regard to parcel B. So that was good news.
Yep.
That was, I think, number 6 under B9. And then once I receive the revised plans, confirm that they have been approved with no drainage easement required, I will amend the draft conservation restriction accordingly.
So I assume that's the clause that was in there that you questioned him on. And he said that it was part of the site plan approval from the planning board. Is that true? Is that
no,
the same?
There were two parts.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, Carolyn, it might have been. I can't remember because there was 2 parts I objected to. One was the drainage easement, and the other was the questions about septic load offset.
Right, and I think the septic load offset is the part that was required by the planning board. Now that you say that.
Yeah, I'm less worried about the whole septic load offset thing now. I think that has more to do with just sort of land management than anything else.
Yeah, it's like the 100-foot offset for a well.
Yeah, exactly. I have some other issues with the Highland CR, but I'm going to get back to them later. Anyway, but he postponed that. The other thing is the RDA request for another one of these lots behind my house was postponed. I went over there last weekend just to poke around because they were cutting down some trees. And it really actually is mostly a pretty minor issue. It's because their land sort of is mostly above the berm down there. And the wetland is actually a rather isolated piece of wetland that's like ahead of the berm. So the berm would prevent most erosion from going into the rest of the area, which is where there's a lot of wetland. So my guess is they'll be able to get away with RDA pretty well. But anyway, we don't have to worry about it tonight. Okay, next, new business. Turns out we have to reappoint a Concom CPA representative. Because any volunteers?
I'll take it.
Hey, that's great news.
You're a glutton for punishment.
Oh, you have no idea, honey. You have no.
Oh no, I can tell.
Yeah. No, but actually, so we had the CPC Community Preservation Committee training last week, and it was the same day that we found out how much money there is.
Hmm.
There's a
So
lot.
there's a lot, and we should
Really?
be able to count on that every year.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
So-
no, check your email. She sent that around. It was way more than expected.
Right.
Um,
Do you want me to
Yes.
explain any of that? Okay.
yeah.
Well, so first let's vote on the appointing, just so we don't forget.
Entertain a
I
motion to
move
appoint Carolyn.
Appointed.
Second.
I'll second.
I object.
Well, if we kick him off, we'll still have a quorum.
Aye.
All those we'll do a roll call vote. All those in favor, Liz,
Aye.
John, I, Carol. Oh, you can't vote. Louise,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Robin,
Aye.
Sucka.
So that Carolyn's on for
Aye.
3 years on the Conservation Commission. So you're on conservation for another 3 years?
No, what this is to be the Conservation Commission representative on the Community Preservation Committee. So at least until May.
Okay, but you don't, and you're still on the Conservation Commission
Till May.
till May.
And the
Gotcha.
planning board.
And
Yeah.
the planning board.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
But they all kind of dovetail at this point.
Why don't you run for selectman?
Yeah, no thanks.
Good.
I thought you were signing for another 3 years.
Yeah. So the way John and Walter, I had talked to you guys a little bit about this, trying to figure out the formula of how the state distribution happens. So we knew a couple months ago how much money the town collected. And the town collected like 297,000 and change dollars. So that will always be about the same, if not more. You know, it'll be incrementally more as taxes go up and as, you know, new properties come online and stuff, but it'll be about the same every year. We are one of 11 communities out of the 176 that have opted for the 3% surcharge. So we have access to all 3 rounds of distribution. So we got a 68% match this year. And what we didn't know is where, so the first round, everybody gets the same percentage. It was like 28.6% this year of what they collected. But the second and third rounds are weighted by community and population and need are the two factors that the state uses to weight each community. So I don't know exactly, there's different categories, and I don't know which one we fall into, but whichever one we fall into, we should expect to be able to stay in that same, as long as nothing dramatic changes in the town. So we should expect to get approximately the same amount of money, the same percentage every year from the state. How many dollars that ends up being depends on the strength of the real estate market. Does everybody understand what the real estate market has to do with that?
No.
No.
So the money that goes into this community preservation trust fund at the state level is every single piece of paper that is filed at the Registry of Deeds has a $50 filing fee. That $50 filing fee goes directly into the trust fund. So the more pieces of paper that pass hands, the better off we do with CPA.
In the state or in the town?
In the state. So mortgages, refinancing of mortgages, real estate sales, real estate purchases, anything that goes through the Registry of Deeds has a $50 filing fee. And that $50 filing fee goes directly into CPA, Community Preservation Trust Fund. Those are the dollars that then get distributed. So.
But that's good. It's gonna down cycle within a year or two. Though.
Exactly. And it always does. So, but our percentage will stay the same. Now that we know what our percentage is, and it is knowable, I think by the end of, you can go online and see every month how much money is in the trust fund. And I believe it's either the end of September or the middle of October is the end of, it must be the end of September, is the year-to-year calculation for that. So.
And we get a good percentage because we as a town voted for 3% versus 2%?
Correct. So if we had only done a 1% surcharge, we would have gotten 28% we would have collected less dollars. So we would have gotten 28% of less dollars. And that is all we would have gotten. Actually, if everybody wants to hold on a second, I can find the chart that tells exactly what we got. Fortunately, I only have 2 emails from him. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Share my screen. So this is the email. So everybody got 28.6%. And I can forward this email if anybody really wants to read more of this. Come on. So it is interesting to see how much all the towns got, and
28.6% of what?
of the dollars that you collected as a community.
Who got the rest? The state?
No, so they distribute most of it. I think they leave some that rolls over. But somewhere in here it might say how much was actually right. So the total payout in the first round was $48 million. Can everybody see this?
Mhm.
Yes.
So, town of Berlin. So we collected $290,392.
I'm not seeing that.
Right here, where it says Berlin.
I'm not seeing that.
I don't see
Oh.
it, Carolyn.
Oh, phew. All right, hold on. Let me go
I'll
back.
take your word for it.
No, hold on one sec. Oh man, where am I? Now I'm totally lost in. It won't let me get back there. Won't let me
Ah!
get back to you guys.
Oh, that's neat.
All right, hold on. There's that. Now, all right. Can you see that?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
spreadsheet. Okay, so 220 raised, 2020 net surcharge raised for Berlin. The first round of distribution, we got 28.6% of 290,000, which turned out to be 83,129. The second round, we got 69,440. And the third round, we got 44,972 for a total of 197.51, which is 68% of what we collected.
And is that 3 rounds a year? Was that 1 year?
It's 1 year, it's distributed once. So if you, as a community, did a 1% surcharge, you only get that first round.
Okay.
If as a community you did a 2% surcharge, you get the first round and the second round. But because we did 3%, we get first, second, and third.
Great.
And where did you say the rest of the money goes?
What's
The
right there in
rest-
front of you?
What's that?
What's right
Well,
there in front of you? That's where the rest of the money goes.
Well, it's 290. and
towns?
We got 197.
Right. So this is all of the towns in the state. So you see Barry is
Mhm.
not involved. Bellingham is not involved. So all of the towns that have CPA, this is the distribution of their funds. How much they collected. Did it say? I thought I saw somewhere. No. How much they collected, how much their state distribution was, how much their final distribution was.
We had a
Well, what does
very
the state
high.
do with the rest of it?
Pardon?
What does the state do with the rest of the money?
They distribute almost all of it.
But if we're only getting 68%, like where does that?
No, that's a. I'm sorry. It's really Carolyn Shannon.
If-
No, go ahead.
That's a formula for determining how much you get.
Right. So we got 100% of our 290,000 we keep.
Oh, in addition to, okay, so it's
Correct.
in addition to the two. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a formula for calculating disbursement.
Gotcha.
Right. So the amount of money that we have in our CPA fund, in the town's CPA fund, is the 290,000 plus
Gotcha.
the 190,000. So just shy of $500,000.
Woohoo.
Gotcha.
And that is about how much we can expect every year.
Great.
Okay, great.
Fabulous. Now, why
how
is
much
our,
do? Oh, go ahead,
reimbursement
John.
rate so much higher?
Because we are a smaller community.
Wow.
Yep.
So we should prevent people from moving in.
Well.
Retroactively.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Walter.
Right. So that, but so when I was,
You started it.
yeah. So when I was telling you guys that I was having trouble figuring out the formula, this was the piece I didn't know. I didn't know how they were going to determine, how they were going to weight the town of Berlin. So now we know though.
That's great.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep. So we should be able to do some good things with this.
Or one
And
good thing.
now you'll be our representative when historical or recreation come for that money.
Or yeah, yes, I am our representative. James Holyoke is also on there, MJ Stades, so they're both at-large citizen seats.
Who's the other at-large one, Carolyn?
So it's
Holyoke?
James Holyoke and MJ Stades.
Never heard of him. Okay.
You've seen him at town meeting. You would recognize him. And then it's Tim Wheeler, Elaine Wickstrom, me. Oh, and Eloise was there for the housing partnership. And then Margaret was there also.
How soon
No.
can we spend this money?
Well, that is a bit of a bummer. So that, because this is our first year, so this it gets a little complicated. So the CPC has to put together a budget every year. They have to put together the budget after the tax rate for the coming fiscal year is set, but at then the next town meeting. So that in order for us to spend 2020 funds, that needed to happen last town meeting. So this coming town meeting, we need to certify that budget. We need to make a budget for 2021 and a budget for 2022, which will all happen at this next meeting. So until that happens, we can't touch any of it.
And that'll be in the spring, we think.
Yeah. As long as, especially because we'll be able to do something outdoors.
Right.
So, and then in the sometime after that, we can start accepting applications for distributing the funds. The plus side of that is by the time all of that is in place, we'll just about be at our next distribution, which happens in the middle of November every year. So, for some of our more immediate needs, that is a bummer, but we also don't really have, as we talked about before, the wolf is not at the door, so we do still have some time. And now we know how much money we have.
Right.
So that makes that easier to make plans as well.
Well, that Laura piece is pretty much the wolf at the door, I believe, but we'll see.
So I heard you say application. So the Conservation Commission would have to write an application to the CPA committee.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Got
then does it have to be voted on at town meeting?
It does. Yep.
Okay.
So
Carolyn, thanks a ton.
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants access to this spreadsheet, just let me know and I'll
Yeah,
email
why
it.
don't you email it to me, please?
Okay.
Thanks. All right, next under new business, annual budget. I have to draw up the budget. I attended a budget thing. And I'm going to screen share the budget draft to get your approval. basically, you know, they whacked us down to 2,000 a year. And we're level funded till then. So the way this works, I mean, it's really simple for us because we don't even have a salary. Just some money we put aside for bribes and stuff, but that's off the books. So you know, this is last year's, this is this year's, you know, KP Law stuff, postage notices, office supplies, other supplies like the mulch for the garden, MACC dues, meetings, less for meetings. I didn't do the virtual one this fall, but I may do one in the spring. And then other expenses such as just trail maintenance. This all adds up. Ooh, this adds up to $2,000. This one added up to $2,200. This one adds up to $2,000. So, any questions?
Good job.
What happens if we go over that 2,000? I mean, I'm looking at our expenses already through, you know, from, what is it, end of June, right? Is the end of the fiscal year?
Yep.
So we're only, you know, 4.5 months into the fiscal year, and we have, let's see, $866 left.
I don't know. So there are mechanisms. There's, you know, one would be to encumber funds and pay for them out of next budget. The other would be to get some money transferred in. I'm going to jump off that bridge later.
Okay.
You know, so.
Right, because other than legal fees, which.
Yeah, I mean, I could not go to, you know, to a conference, and I cannot buy any more trail materials. There's a lot of stuff I can not do. So I think we'll be able to stretch it. But if we run tight, if we have troubles, we'll just, I don't know, I'll complain to Margaret.
Right. So the thing that will suck up any and all of the rest of the money will be the Highland Ridge conservation restriction.
Yep.
So we should do as much of that ahead of time as we can before we get legal town council involved.
Yes. And I don't know, or just ask for more money. I mean, our budget's pretty small, so. All right. So entertain a motion to
I
accept
move
this.
to accept the budget as written.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Liz,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Louise,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Robin,
Aye.
and me, aye. Okay, that's
Okay,
done.
who seconded?
I did. Robin.
Next, under old business, number 1, wetland bylaw. Carolyn and I met with Buzz to talk about sort of strategies. We had a phone conference. And then we're gonna try to set up a meeting with Mike and also Tim.
Correct.
Yeah, so we're working on that. If there's any other people that can think of people to reach out to and stuff, that would be good. Put your thinking caps on. All right, next, back to the Highland Ridge CR. So I already mentioned Alex Perra's email. As suggested, I reached out to SVT about their being the conservation monitor. So I've had a number of email exchanges with Kristen O'Brien. She actually went out to see the property last Friday, or Thursday or Friday. And, you know, she's sort of drawing up a thing, a budget. So that leads to my next question. So leads to a question. So SVT is the conservation monitor for a number of properties in Berlin, but no bills have come by my desk for this. Who usually pays them to do that?
To do what specifically, John?
For example, for the Wendler purchase,
Yeah.
You know, Peach Hill Conservation Area,
Yeah.
they are the conservation monitors for that.
Right.
They come out once a year at least you know, and, you know, do their checkup. They do checkups for the Oberg property. They do for the O'Brien property, you know, the Berlin Meadows. And presumably they're dropping a bill for that, you know.
Nope.
Well, John, I mean, I've always just taken it for granted that we own the land. And in fact, I was the one that thought it'd be a good idea to donate a CR to them, because it would be an extra layer of protection in case somebody in town tried to cut off 10 acres to put in a new highway barn or something like that. And it's their choice to monitor it. We don't monitor our lands. I mean, I monitor them, you know, casually as I'm out in the woods all the time. But, you know, if they want to monitor it, and they take care of any cost of that. And I don't recall them ever sending us a bill on that, but they shouldn't. We don't monitor it. I don't want them to monitor it. Or I don't.
They have to monitor it. I mean, there has to be a monitor.
There has to be a monitor per their charter.
Right.
So they, as part of them holding joint CR, they've just always done it.
Yeah.
Now, Ashley there was maybe in the Wendler, I think we gave them some money to put into an account for future monitoring. I seem to remember that after it was all said and done, after they purchased I don't remember exactly the timing of it, but I do believe that we could look back and find that we gave them some money towards future monitoring.
Louise?
A while back, we gave them $15,000, and I believe it was for monitoring.
Right, that's what I thought too. I knew it wasn't a huge amount of money, but it wasn't insignificant either.
Right.
Okay, so we
and that
have
was
paid
for
them.
Wendler, right, Louise?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Well, they monitor other lands. I mean, they monitor Oberg.
Yep.
You know, they monitor O'Brien.
Yep. But like Walter said, we've never asked them to do that.
I don't see it as an issue. You know, it's all, we don't owe them any money for that. I don't think they'd ask for it. I don't think we're required by any state statute to go out and monitor things. If we were Carlisle or Concord, where everybody's putting swing sets on the land and all that other stuff, that's one thing. But in Berlin, the only thing I see is people throwing Christmas trees over the wall or something, and I don't think it's an issue yet.
All right, we'll find out. All right, next up, and then I actually passed over an issue from previously. Next up on the Highland Ridge CR stuff is the trail issues. So I think you.
What are you talking about? 7.3?
Sorry, just filling it. So Holly and Marcus went out with their GPS thing and mapped the trail that exists currently in that general area. So, you know, it starts way up here at Randall Road, goes all, and the trail goes all the way through to Carter Street, essentially. And then sort of loops back again, and there's a loop here. So what I did today was...
That was cool. What software did you use?
That's Holly's. Marcus has a fancy GPS thingy. It's very cool. We used it for the trail up at Peach Hill.
Okay.
So then I sort of tried to map what she did over just to the development area itself to see what, you know, issues would pertain. So this is sort of rough. but you know, the trail comes in here, crosses the wetland here currently, heads down, and then this is Carter Street down here, and then heads back up again, and then some of you may have remember seeing the trail over here, you know, this part of the trail that have walked down to Highland Ridge, and then it cuts across, and it might actually be, the angle might be a little more acute, because this is, I remember there's a pile of rubble here, and then it heads this way, and then it goes off the property again. So if you remember from last meeting, Alex Perra was talking about, you know, I had pointed out that the conservation restriction said that there was a trail map and there wasn't one. So, and there may not be one, but we've created one, sort of.
But can I add? Sorry.
No, I would like you to talk. Please go ahead, Holly.
Okay, so the trail that we made is the part, I can't see my mouse, but we kind of had to make a new trail because so there's a part of that we kind of made new, if that makes sense. But we did, the lower part is all existing trail, that
right
part
here.
Yeah. And then the one above, it was existing up into the point where you get to the septic system. It kind of crosses the existing that access road that they use, and then it goes up. And then we tried to follow, because originally that trail would go right into the property. So what we did is we followed the highest land possible and marked it, and it's pretty doable, but we would have to kind of make a little trail there. But it's probably like not that much, and it would be pretty easy to do. And then, and then other trails that we didn't map link into that as well, that go from Coburn Road kind of thing. But we just wanted to get the ones that we, you know, I think they would care about and we care about.
Right. Well, these are the ones on lots on the property that they own.
Yeah.
There's another one that loops around like this way, but that one I didn't add that in.
Right. And then the other one that's Duncan's land, and Duncan lets everybody use his trails. But we didn't want to map that either because that's private too.
Yeah. Well, the complicating thing is, you know, going back to your GPS map, that's all over private property. So it's not like there won't be trails we could publish.
No.
But in the meantime, because you never know what the future holds, some of that land may be sold to conservation stuff.
That's what I am hoping, and I'm going to make sure that might happen. Yes.
Well, I mean, if I may, on the it's private land, yes, but we've yet to approve a CR on it, and I want to discuss that Woodlands thing coming up. But
yeah, I want to get back to that.
If there's a CR on that, that should include public access on trails.
Okay. So Holly, do you want to both, you want to communicate, just, you know, send this, you know, communicate with Attorney Perra and said that we have sort of a rough trail map outline, and also with Venacasa, since you had spoken with him before?
Yes. Do you want me to send you what you sent me? That's what you're showing right now?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I can send that to both of them. I have the, I have Steve's email.
Yeah, Holly, when you talk to those people, tell them about Woodlands, where the trail system has become a draw for tenants and for buyers.
Well, let me talk about Woodlands in a minute, because you had emailed. So let me just, I want to give you a chance in a sec. I just want to finish this topic off. I'm sorry, Walter, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Holly, I think I'm going to forward you Alex Perra's email, just so you have his email address. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I did talk to Steve when I communicated him initially. I had told him how these trails are like a conduit for a lot of us dog walkers and people, and it would be a plus to the residents there if they were kept open just because they are really nice trails that can get you places. And also I told him about the potential of a rail trail bike path going through there too. And he was excited about that.
Yeah.
And this again would take you right to it. So it's
Yes, so actually it would. Okay, well, thanks for doing that, Holly.
yeah, and then oh, never mind. All right, I'm done.
I had a question. So these trails would be for people and dogs and horses and
Yeah, he mentioned he did mention that he's not a big fan of ATVs. There are a lot of ATV, well, some of the trails on the property that's on Randall Road that we access the system, and actually the access point is actually owned by our neighbor, so he allows us to get through that private piece that abuts Randall Road because that land is all funky. But anyway, past that, there's a lot of ATV usage along that property that's owned by the California people on Randall Road. And then Steve mentioned he's not a big fan of ATVs coming around his property. They wouldn't be happy about that, but he's totally open to anybody else using the trails except motorized vehicles.
I can't imagine the state approving a CR that allows ATVs on it. It will, so drawing up the CR is really a vehicle for dealing with these issues.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
And I didn't quite understand how it's private land, so we couldn't publish it, but we could use it.
The trail network. So the trail that I just showed with the red would be on the property, the Highland Ridge property, and we could include in the conservation restriction that people can use that part of the trail. However, it leads to trails that are on private property that we do not have a conservation restriction for. Okay. It's just private property, and because of that reason,
permission to use.
Yeah, we don't even really have any. So anyway, I wouldn't those trails. So none of these trails will be published on the town website because they're disconnected, and a lot too much of it goes under private property.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, well, Holly, thanks a bunch.
Sure.
All right, Walter, getting back to your emails, you want to talk about the Woodlands conservation restriction?
Yeah, everybody know where Woodlands is in that CR. If you drive out Boylston Road towards Route 70 on the 5 corners, and you get out there, quite a ways out actually, you'll start to see posted signs, no trespassing signs, all along the right side of the road, which is CR protected land in the town of Berlin. All of the land that belonged to that Woodlands development that is in Berlin has a CR on it. It's, I forget what it is. It's
Woodlands is in Clinton.
70, 80 acres or something like that. And Woodlands itself is located in Clinton, the development, but they own a lot of land in Berlin. So that's got a CR on it. And they posted it. And I wondered about that. And I think it's wrong. So anyway, I looked up the conservation restriction here, and under page 4, item 5, access is granted to the following: to the Town of Berlin Conservation Commission, a permanent easement of access for the sole purpose of inspecting the premises. And then number 2, to the public, a permanent easement of access by foot, skis, or snowshoes over those areas designated as a trail network. And that's why I was getting back to what Holly was talking about. This is a good example. You not necessarily can walk all through the woods or anything, but you certainly, the general public has access to the trail network, which they have all posted. Any liability of the grantors in making land available to the public is limited pursuant to the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 21, Section 17C, whatever that is. Anyway, that 5-2 is the important thing. And I sent that to the Clinton Conservation Commission, and I got a response back, not the commission, but the trail group. And they're really irate with Woodlands too, because Woodlands, the homeowners association, are trying to keep everybody off of that land. And so anyway, she asked me, I sent a copy to her, and she's going to look up what Clinton is, but we're going to go after that so that public access. There's some nice trails through there. In fact, it mentions in this CR places for parking on that trail off of Boylston Road. There should be 5 parking spots, but the trail goes in up to Clamshell Pond, up over steep hills. It's rather nice in there. But anyway, that's all it's about. And I'm going to wait to see if they come up with something in Clinton that is definite as what I just read about Berlin. And if so, we're going to get together and make sure that Clinton, the homeowners association doesn't shut that out to the public.
Awesome.
Great. I'd love to see a P where the parking is.
If you look at, well, let me see, right down just before you're going along Boylston Road, you go out of Berlin into Clinton, and then you go a little ways and you hit MDC land, which is green land. Just before you hit the MDC land, the trail goes north out of that, all the way up to around Clamshell Pond, which you can see the southern part of up there. So the P is right where it says Willow Road. Oh, that's an old, Clinton still calls it Willow Road. It used to be called that in Berlin. Yeah, right above about where the D is in road on Willow Road was be where the parking would be. You can't get in there now, it's gated off.
Huh. Great.
So, right. So if that's supposed to be parking,
It shouldn't be gated.
It's also in Clinton.
correct.
Yeah, that's in Clinton. Well, let me, I just wanted to apprise you of this thing. Let me get all the facts together. And after communicating with Clinton a little more, and then we'll talk about it again. But let's keep it on the agenda as old business.
Okay.
So Walter, who are you working with in Clinton?
Franny,
Oh, the Roush of Trust?
Franny
Yeah.
Hodge.
yeah, right.
Okay,
Franny Hodge.
right.
And where is the neighborhood? Is that above?
You can
Ruby?
see it. Look at it. Look at the map. Right above where it says Rubens Hill in Clinton, all that development.
Devonwood.
Yeah, you got it.
Leadwood. Okay. Thanks.
But this is the Berlin conservation land right here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for doing that, Walter.
Thanks, Walter.
Entirely welcome.
All right. Then one last thing under land management, the boardwalk's done over by the entrance to the Laurel Hill Trail.
Woohoo!
Mountain Laurel
Awesome.
Trail.
Nice.
Did you take pictures?
Yes. Here, let me see. Dan and I both took pictures. I took a picture of him. He took a picture of me. Blah, blah, blah.
We just
You
want
guys
to
are
see
so
the
cute.
boardwalk. We'll settle with the boardwalk.
See if I can search my mail. Dan is such a nice guy.
He is.
He is, yeah.
Oh, here's a picture of Dan. He's a lot good, better looking than me. So let me just screen share it. So there you go.
Nice.
Mask
nice.
and everything.
How would you like to meet him in the woods?
He's not scary at all. He's like the nicest guy
He
ever.
looks it there. I know it. He is a nice guy.
So these are all like we drove rebar into the pounded into the ground there, and so the water should pass underneath. So right now it's passing underneath the culvert because there's not much, but in the spring flood it passes over. So you can't get through here without getting your feet wet. So this should do the trick. And I put ramps so Candy can ride her bike.
Looks good.
Awesome.
Did you work up as much of a sweat as Dan did, or did he do all the work?
I just sat on, I brought a folding chair
Oh, did you?
and I directed him. He's such a nice guy. He just put up with me. I don't know why he did that. All right. So, all right, that's all we got. Entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting?
No, I got something I just got to run by you. Did anybody else?
All right.
I had the link to the discussion, the Zoom meeting on the Central Mass Rail Trail today, and I lost it and I couldn't get on. It was an hour and a half discussion. Did anybody listen?
I wasn't able to be on it today.
Oh, God.
I had a couple
I
meetings.
can't believe it, you know? Have you seen, I think I forwarded to you the plan itself on that.
Yeah, I saw it. I got it from, they sent it to me directly. I got it from MassDOT. I must have been on their list.
So
Yeah.
is there
Yeah, it's 4 or
an
5
official
times.
trail group in town, or should we be part of it or have input?
Well, this is what we set up last year. Remember, we got together with those guys from Hudson,
Yep.
Tom Green, and then Tom Kelleher, and Craig Delapenna kind of pulled us all together. So there is a group, but we've been waiting to hear from. I know Franny was really anxious for us to, buy that land from Pan Am, but it didn't really make sense for us to do anything until we saw the state's feasibility study, and that, it's taken them a year and a half to get to this point. So
Well, I guess the question is, Chairman and anybody else, I mean, should we put our 2 cents in on this thing and keep track of it, get a report on it? One thing I'm
well,
particularly.
we are. I mean, I get the emails from them.
Right. Yeah, Robin's.
Yeah, well, we
keeping
don't
an eye
hear
on it.
about it.
Well,
Feel like
that's the
Robin's
thing.
our
Like,
representative.
I had gone to that meeting, a year and a half ago or whatever, and that's how I got on the list. But when it came time they were supposed to have a meeting, like a stakeholder meeting, and invite us to it, and they never did. They involved Clinton, but they never invited any of us from Hudson or Berlin.
Well, just one thing, and I'll throw this out now and plant it in your minds. The one thing that I would like to see, and I think everybody else I've talked to would, the trail goes down and follows the railroad track. It's wonderful all the way from Hudson down to about where the town barn is right now. But as you head further west, it's in the backyard of a couple of places. One in particular, a very historic place that's been wonderfully restored. And I think the trail, instead of following the railroad bed, which later on puts it above and behind a lot of other houses, should drop down to the right on the opposite side of the railroad bed from the Berlin house and then drop down and cross Coben Road, and that old county road, which was discontinued when the railroad was built, follows parallel to it, but away from all houses, all the way up till you get up to West Berlin, and then if it has to, and get back on a railroad bed. But it's still, you could almost go up, shoot up to the right along Lucy Ayres land, and around it down on that CR that we have on POTUS's, and come around. But we've got to have I wanted to talk about that today, but I couldn't get into the Zoom meeting.
Well,
But
they
anyway, I
had
just
their
wanted to
comment.
throw that out.
Well, I think you told that to him last year, and I don't know why they didn't incorporate it, but they didn't follow up with us for additional comments. I don't know. I mean, I think you went to that meeting up in Clinton too, didn't you? Weren't you there that night?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't remember if you were
while.
there or not, but I mean, we gave them a lot of input back then, and they were supposed to follow up with us, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. All right.
I mean, they west of Five Corners, they had two different plans. So they still haven't nailed that down, but I don't know.
Robin, can
will
you
you
send
be-
that?
Will you be?
Oh,
Everybody?
you guys didn't get it? I thought.
No.
I'm sorry. I thought you guys had it. Yeah, I'll send that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got 5 copies of that. I sort of assumed everybody got one.
Yeah, I kind of thought I did. I thought everybody had it too.
Because I get them over and over and over. Then Walter will forward it to me too. I know what that cart path you're talking about, Walter. That is a better option potentially. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, and I think Walter did tell them that last summer.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it would keep the neighbors less.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think that stretch is where the biggest opposition is.
Yeah.
It has to go by the McKelts, and whether they want it or not, I would like it to not infringe on that fabulous place that they've so lovingly restored. And I think it can be done by simply dropping off on the north side of the railroad bed, somewhere in the vicinity of where the old town barn was, and following it down and then down the old county road. But anyway,
Yeah,
so will you chase
yeah,
that down as a member of that committee, Robin?
what's that, Walter?
Are you, will you chase that down a little bit and find out where they are on that, if you're on that trail committee?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we haven't really done anything because we didn't have anything to do anything with, and unfortunately, I couldn't be on the call today. But I know there was a comment period. I didn't have any comments.
Yeah.
I kind of figured they're gonna. I didn't have any comments because they were supposed to ask us for our comments last year, and they didn't care. They didn't incorporate what you were, what you just said. You told them last year, and they didn't incorporate that. So I don't think they really care what our opinions are about this. I think they kind of already have an idea of what they want to do, and they're just going to do it. But I mean, we can definitely try.
Right. I think we should definitely try.
Yeah.
So Walter, where you're talking about, does that then push the trail further on to Keith Susie's property?
On whose
It's
property?
nowhere near Keith's property.
Is it?
Well, Carolyn, you have to repeat
Oh,
that.
it's further out.
It does a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's expressed indignation about it, but it's way away from his house. It's got a screen there, trees growing along, and the public.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I was
Yeah,
mistaken.
Okay.
It's the very edge of his property. I've been down
Yeah.
there. Yeah. You're right, Walter. It's pretty far away from his house.
That's
Just
all
curious, just getting my bearings on it.
Yeah. But let me.
So
Yeah, I can-
Walter, in this email, the comment period is open through December 1st.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to express that directly through a comment here.
I'll take care of it. I'll copy you on what I wrote.
Okay, yeah, because
Copied
I mean,
everybody, I think, on that note I wrote to Franny Hodge, by the way. Did y'all get it?
nope.
Nope.
Oh,
If you sent it to conservation, just John got it.
oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't send to anybody because I wanted to hear what Walter said first about it. So I can screen share the map again. So here's the rail coming down here, okay?
Right,
And then this is Coburn,
right,
Right.
and
So
then this is that cart path,
right.
which surprisingly is still on the map. Now this is the Clark area. This is conservation land too.
Right, right.
But this is a very nice little road there.
Yeah.
right. So that's
so-
Dave Burke's property, number
This-
number 16.
Oh, right here.
No,
Okay.
right.
Right
The
there.
not green, right
Right
next.
here.
Right there, that's
yeah.
where he is, yeah.
Yeah, that's Dave Burke, and then the large piece across the street is Keith.
Right here.
Yep, and then just on the other side of the rail trail, what is that? 119. Whoops. 119. That's the McKelks.
119.
Well, go back east.
To the right.
Right
Oh, yeah.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
Mhm.
So this,
So-
the piece of 197, is it just to the right of it? What's that number? That little one. We see where the town barn is, 103.
Yeah,
Okay, and then to the left of it, it's 107, I think.
yeah. I think.
Well,
that's-
cross up over the railroad, and that sort of rectangular piece belongs to the railroad. So
Oh,
anyway, heading westerly on the railroad track, once you get to the town barn, you could favor the north side of the rail trail. And I believe that, we could get that piece from the railroad and shave off, see if we can pick something up out of these two landlocked pieces westerly of that, and then drop down the county road, which is that triangular piece that goes down. That's part of the county road.
yep.
Yeah, the trail
You're
that,
thinking about bringing it up this way a little bit, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, not that far. It doesn't have to
Right.
be that far. Just you know,
Who owns these
30
two?
feet.
Right. Who owns those three little pieces?
I looked that up, but I didn't recognize their names. Phil Wheel, the Wheelers own the big piece.
The big piece on the right.
Here?
Right there, right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then it could potentially go here, which is right next to
Keith's
Keith's
property. Yeah.
spot,
Right. There's a
Um,
trail already there. We ride through there all the time.
Right.
right here.
Yeah, that we ride through there, and then we go right across into. That's how we get to the sand pits. Then we go
Yeah.
along Jake Burke's in there, and then cross 62.
You go up.
So
a
I'm
gate.
trying to open the map right now so I can show you guys what the plan is. It has two different,
Yeah, one just follows the old railroad bed, and then the other one gets up onto the gas line. The Wachusett Aqueduct up off Barnes Hill.
So what happens when it gets to the new houses that are being developed right
I
there?
believe it goes right across them.
Yeah, we kept it. We kept the right of way there because we raised enough of a stink about it. So there is a trail right of way across.
Because
that
didn't they buy that from the railroad, that piece of property?
Say that again.
They bought that piece of property, that little tiny strip that goes across. You can't see what I'm doing, but
No, but right.
Oh,
Right
that's,
here.
right.
yeah, that was further down. That the people that cut the railroad bed and they put their driveway through it. That's the
That's
people that bought the land. I
Right.
think.
No,
right. That's
this
where
is a
John's
new
cursor
development.
is.
Yeah.
do you guys
Yeah.
want me to share my screen and show you what the plan is?
Yeah.
Well, there's two options actually, so. mm, Is up
No.
right now?
No.
No,
Oh,
you're,
hold on.
you don't like to share.
Hold
There
on a
you
sec.
go.
All right. So here it is at Coburn Road. They're talking about, they show that the bridge is missing here. So it doesn't, I didn't read all the stuff up above. So it's possible that they are said that the missing bridges they are planning on replacing. So that's what they're showing for that area at Coburn. And then you go back a little further, they have a couple different plans here. So they show this one option of rebuilding the bridges here at Five Corners and then coming around this land and then crossing over again 62, or coming up this way up Barnes Hill Road and then across here.
Yeah, that's the aqueduct. Yeah.
Yeah. And then over here, like I remember, I know this part is really steep over to the right of Barnes Hill, but I'm assuming this is must be fairly flat. I haven't been up to this section.
Pretty steep going up Barnes Hill right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't recall because I'm usually going down this quickly. If this part here is like a cliff.
Wait,
Oh, you can't
we
see
can't
it.
see your cursor. No.
I'm
You're
part-
talking about the area
off
below
of Derby
where it's-
Road, between
yeah, where the
Derby Road.
3H is.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know, to the left of Derby Road is quite steep.
Yeah.
Now, because to the right of that is where the aqueduct starts up again. You know.
Yep.
So and also the berm for the Ross site. I mean, there's two areas in there for walking or biking. But yeah, that if they could figure out how to get to the aqueduct, that could work. But the yellow line is what leads to the tunnel. So
Yeah. So you want me to go to that? I can show you. There's two different
there-
paths here.
they're really happy about the tunnel.
Yeah.
Well, it sounded like I got the impression that the tunnel was going to be a nightmare to do, and I got the impression that the DOT was not super excited about doing
Oh,
that.
okay.
Well,
So,
we'll push them on it.
what was that, Walter?
We should push them on it. That'd be a big draw. I mean, where do you ride a bike path through a railroad tunnel? It should be part of it.
Well, so I think to a certain extent they might be doing this in phases to try and get as much done as they can, because that bridge is out across, like if you go through the tunnel. So they did show on this path coming down here at the dam, but if I remember correctly, yeah, there's the tunnel there. So they have to rebuild the bridge here. So I think that was not the,
So rebuild a bridge over Route 70?
No, over
over
that.
Route 70 and the dam, and Lancaster Pond there, Mill
Yeah.
Pond there.
That
So-
bridge is like 100, would be like 100 feet tall.
Yeah, it would be a huge bridge. Like the old pictures of it, it's a big
Huge.
bridge, which is I think is
Yeah.
why they're favoring this path here, at least in the short term, just to get the path, to get the rail trail built as best they can.
Okay, look at your trail. It goes out and it crosses Route 70, correct?
Yep.
All right, go back up to the north to the railroad tunnel. Very simply, come out of the railroad tunnel, either cross the road or stay on the same side and run the bike path up to the dam and then cross the dam.
But
If
I
they
think
cross
when
the
they were
road, if they can cross the road from the aqueduct, they can cross the road from the railroad tunnel. There's a slope down from the railroad tunnel down to the road level.
So Walter, I think there was also issues that they were concerned about structurally with the tunnel, and then and there were some issues with the tunnel that they were concerned about too.
Well, we have to get those facts.
Yeah.
I
At any
heard
rate,
from Louise, it's a fallout shelter, or it's pretty sturdy, I thought. Or for a while, it was a fallout shelter.
yeah, Louise said it's a frog farm.
It is
Um,
a frog farm.
All right. So anyway, Robin, you'll follow up with that maybe?
Well, so it sounded like Walter was going to submit his
I'll
comments.
follow up on it and keep you all posted. I'll copy you on everything.
So, well, so
Excellent.
Walter, there's also the comment section that, you know, it would probably be worth submitting your comments there as well, regardless of who you email, just to make sure it gets like logged in the system.
Yeah, I will, yeah.
Because otherwise, you know, an email might just go to some wherever.
Right.
All right, kids. Now
All
can I
right.
entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
Second,
Yours. All right. Roll call vote. Liz,
Aye.
John, I, Carolyn,
aye.
Louise,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Robin.
Aye.
All right, we are done at 8:30.